I have a really fun video for you all right now, and we're going to talk all things election updates. It is 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday. We have a really funny reaction from Kamala's team. Finally, reaction from Kamala herself. She finally has made a public appearance since conceding to the election. We have reactions from Trump's team, and we have updates from what's going on with the actual election. So last time we spoke, Trump won the state of Michigan. The new update now is that he won the state of Alaska. So right now he's at 295. Kamala is at 226. I heard that he picked up Nevada. I just haven't been able to confirm that. So he might also have Nevada, where would that put him? I don't know how many electoral votes Nevada has, but that's what's going on with the election right now. Although we also know Donald Trump already gave his victory speech. Kamala Harris already conceded to Donald Trump and to the world. So let's just look at the Senate and the House really quick, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. Here are the U.S. House results. So yeah, GOP in the lead, a little bit different. And Senate, a little bit changed, but you still have GOP ahead. So it's looking like Republicans will probably have the Senate and the House, which is really good news. And now to the fun stuff. So earlier today, CNN's Caitlin Collins came out and said that a staffer told her that Kamala Harris did in fact call Donald Trump to concede. Well, Donald Trump's team has confirmed that, and this is what they said. So they said President Donald J. Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris spoke by phone earlier today, where she congratulated him on his historic victory. President Trump acknowledged Vice President Harris on her strength, professionalism, and tenacity throughout the campaign, and both leaders agreed on the importance of unifying the country, and that is the Trump campaign communications director. And now to Kamala's team. So this is coming directly from a White House correspondent. So just so you know, this is where it's coming from. This is allegedly from Kamala's team, an inside email, and it's coming from a White House correspondent. So do with that what you will. So it says, team, just a few moments ago, the vice president connected with President Trump to concede the race. In the call, she told him that she would work with President Biden to ensure a peaceful transfer of power, unlike what we saw in 2020. She also made it clear that she hopes he will be a president for all Americans. I don't have words to express the gratitude I have for everyone getting this email. You left everything on the field. You built a first-rate, historic presidential campaign. In basically 90 days, you navigated things that no one has ever had to navigate, and likely no one ever will again. You stared down unprecedented headwinds and obstacles that were largely out of control. We knew this would be a margin of error race, and it was, and your work mattered. The whole country moved to the battleground states, saw the least amount of movement in his direction. It was the closest in the places we connected. That speaks to both the work you did and the scale of the challenge we ultimately couldn't surmount. The vice president will speak to the nation later today at Howard University. Immediately following the vice president's speech, she and Governor Walz will host an all-staff call to speak directly to you about what we accomplished in this short run on the road and the road ahead of all of us. We hope you will join us. I'll leave you with this. Losing is unfathomably painful. It is hard. This will take a long time to process, but the work of protecting America from the impacts of a Trump presidency start now. I know the vice president isn't finished in this fight. I know the very people on this email are also going on this collective blah, 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 blah. That's the funny part. So they can't fathom how the country moved this far to the right. Nobody moved to the right. You just moved radically to the left. Kamala Harris is probably the most far-left radical person that high in office that we ever had. She's not a classic Democrat. She's not a classic liberal. And that's who this party turned off. The classic liberal, the moderate, the independent, the person who just wants to live their life and be left alone and not live in a communist socialist country. That's it. That's all. But the things that Kamala was proposing and doing were so radical, she pushed people to probably vote Republican that have never voted Republican ever in their entire lives. So they don't get it because they all hang out in an echo chamber. They don't get out and talk to real actual people that these policies affect. So I will leave you with Kamala Harris herself addressing the nation and this historic loss. It's funny they call it a historic campaign. This is probably one of the worst presidential campaigns I've ever seen in my life, even given the short amount of time they had to get it together. Okay, so here's Kamala Harris herself.
Everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves.
Excuse me.
This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build